In today's video of Path of Exile 2, we're going to be going over everything you need to know on how to pick up all of the permanent upgrades to both your stats and some passive skill points that you pick up as you make your way through the game, completing the various acts and quest line. I'll be going over everything you need to know to pick up all of them throughout normal as well as on cruel difficulty. These are all definitely going to be worth knowing about. Some of them will highly be sought after at endgame, especially things such as resistances, and quite a few of them are actually optional pickups, so you could quite easily miss them. So starting off at the beginning, we're going to be jumping into Act 1. In Act 1, you're going to come across this boss very early on, and that's going to be Bearer of the Rotten Pack. In general, quite a nice easy boss to take down most times. Because she's all about cold, she's going to give you a nice 10% cold resistance as soon as you defeat her. She's found very early on in Clearfell, and on normal difficulty you get 10% cold resist, and cruel difficulty another 10% cold resist as well. For our next one, we're going to be jumping over to the hunting grounds, and this time we'll be taking on this cool little boss just here, and that's going to be the Crowbell. This one's another optional boss that you don't have to take down, but it's well worth doing because they're going to give you a specialisation book when you do take them out, and it's going to give you 2 passive skill points. This can really help out early game, make yourself a little bit more powerful, and just help you build along really early on. Again, doing it on normal difficulty will allow you to get 2 passive skill points, and on cruel difficulty you'll also get the 2 passive skill points once more. Back in our first hand, this time we're going to be talking to Finn and grabbing a quest from him. Now for this part, I'm not sure if you actually have to do this, but I did find that when I went to the hunting ground, I got a little bit of additional info when he popped up again when I came across the first altar. This, I believe, may be completely optional, but I put it in just in case. The main thing you will be doing is going over to Freythorn. When you make your way here, you're going to want to take out all of the altars that you possibly can. I believe there's 3 in total, before you take on the large final one, and the boss himself, the King of the Mists. Once he's defeated, you're going to grab yourself a nice plus 30 to your spirit. However, this can only be done once, and that's on a normal difficulty, and on cruel difficulty it doesn't actually give you anything extra, unfortunately. For our next one, and we're going to be taking a quest from Una, who's reminiscing a little bit about her past, and she's going to send you off to Ogham Farmlands, where she wants you to find her lost loot. You're going to be roaming around there, taking out the enemies until you find her old home, and just inside, you're going to be able to pick it up and then return to her, where she'll give you a specialisation book, allowing you to pick up 2 more passive points. You'll be able to do this again on cruel difficulty, giving you another 2 passive skill points, making it 4 overall. For the final upgrade that we'll be able to pick up during Act 1, and we're going to go all the way over to Ogham Manor, and this time you're going to tackle Candlemas the Living Rite. This thing is well worth taking out, as it's going to give you a nice little bit of health, and the first time you do this on normal difficulty you're going to get 20 maximum life, and the second time it's going to give you plus 8% to your maximum life overall. Over to Act 2, and this time we're going to be going into the desert, and the first place we're going to be looking at is going to be Kef. In here there's going to be an optional boss that you'll want to take out, and that's going to be the Kabbalah Constrictor Queen. This is a really nice easy one to tackle, well worth doing again, as it's going to power you up a little bit, make things a little bit easier, because it's going to drop a book of specialisation, allowing you to get 2 passive skill points when you complete it on normal difficulty, and it's going to drop another one when you complete it on cruel difficulty. While you're here, I would highly recommend taking out as many enemies as you can, because you'll be able to pick up another quest called the Ancient Vows quest. Defeat as many enemies as possible until you're able to obtain this right here, the Kabbalah Clan Relic. After that, you're going to want to go and make your way through the Mastodon Badlands all the way to the Bone Pits. In here, very similar to what we saw before, you're going to want to tackle some enemies, take them all out until you get another relic drop, and this time you're going to be looking for the Sun Clan Relic one. Once all of the hard work's done, you're then going to make your way to the Valley of the Titans, and usually around a part of the outside of the map you'll find an altar that says insert the medallion. In here you're going to be able to pick up a really nice buff for your character, and the first time you can play on normal difficulty you'll be able to choose between 30% charm charges and 15% mana recovery from flasks, and on cruel difficulty you'll be able to pick from 30% charm charges once more and 15% life recovery from flasks. You can toggle all these on and off depending on which one you want at the time, so don't worry too much, as you can't really go wrong with this. Heading over to a quest from Shambrin, and this time she's going to want you to look out for a fallen body over in Dashar. This one is part of the Traditions Toll quest, and you're going to be looking out for a body on the floor, and when you click on it it's going to find a fallen letter. Once you turn this back in at Shambrin, you're going to be rewarded with 2 passive skill points from the normal difficulty, and once you complete it again on cruel difficulty you're going to get yourself another 2 passive skill points. For the final upgrade of Act 2, and we're going to be heading over to the Spires of Dashar. This one I'd say is very easily missable, as most of the pathways and everything within this area looks very similar. What you're going to want to look out for though, it's going to be a type of statue, and on it it's going to say the Sisters of Garrakan. Once you click on this, you'll probably have a few enemies to fight, but as soon as you've touched it, you're going to grab yourself 10% lightning resist on normal difficulty, and on cruel difficulty another 10% lightning resistance once again. Heading over to the third act, and this time we're going to head off to the jungle ruins. This time you're going to be tackling the mighty Silver Fist, and this boss is definitely a little bit of a DPS check in my books, as he hits like an absolute truck. When you take him out though, he's going to give you a really nice reward once again, 2 passive skill points when you complete on normal difficulty, and once more completing it on cruel difficulty will give you another 2 passive skill points again. Once you've entered the jungle and bop back to your original encampment once more, you're going to be able to pick up a quest from Survey, and this time you're going to be on the lookout for the venom pits that are also found within the jungle ruins. This can take a little bit of wandering to find, but once you do, just head in, make your way through the waves of enemies inside, and then you'll be on the lookout for another corpse that's highlighted on the floor. Click on it and you're going to get the corpse snake venom item. From there you're going to want to backtrack, head back to Survey once more, and you'll be able to pick up a really nice reward. For this one, you're going to have the choice of one of them, so make sure you know what you're picking because it's a permanent one, because you'll be clicking on a venom draft, and on normal difficulty you'll be able to get either 25% stun threshold, 30% elemental ailment threshold, or 25% mana regen. On cruel, it's going to be the choice of plus 10 chaos resist, plus 5 to all attributes, or 15% slowing potency debuffs. Next up, and we're going to be jumping over to the Azak Bog, and we're going to be tackling one of the more mobile bosses in this game, Ignaduk the Bog Witch. You're going to want to make your way all the way through this area, and you'll be tackling the quest, the Tribal Vengeance. Until eventually you make it to an arena, you're definitely going to want to beat Ignaduk, as the first time you do it, you're going to grab yourself another 30 spirit, and on cruel difficulty, when you complete it again, you're going to get plus 40 to your spirit, giving you 100 overall with what you've already tallied up earlier. For our second to last one of Act 3, and we're going to be heading over to Jaquani's Machinarium, and we're going to be on the hunt for a whole bunch of soul cores. The first one you're going to find right in the start of the area. Once you unlock that door, there's going to be a few more small soul cores that you can find, and it's definitely worth doing, and then try to unlock some of the doors to see if you've got some treasure, or to tackle what you're after. It's going to be this optional boss right here, and that's Blackjaw the Remnant. This thing has a lot of fire damage going on, so be careful not to stand in front of it, but upon taking it out, you're going to be able to grab the item on the floor and get yourself 10% elemental resist to your fire on normal difficulty, as well as another 10% fire resist on cruel difficulty. Finally, for the last buff we'll be able to pick up for Act 3, you're going to want to wait until you've got all the way to the very end of the act where you can go through the portal, and once you're back in the past, you're going to want to head to Utsul and take out a whole bunch of enemies, because you're going to be after finding the sacrificial heart drop. If it doesn't drop here for you though, don't worry, you can actually pick it up in Agarat. So there's 2 places where this does drop, but personally I found this in Utsul, and I think it's probably the easiest way to pick it up a little bit earlier on. Once you have got it though, this is going to be a key item for grabbing yourself another 2 skill points, but in order to get them you're going to have to make your way to Agarat and then clear through a lot of the level. Tackle the enemies, go from the part where it looks quite nice and cheerful, and instead you'll be making your way onto the areas where the floor's a little bit more bloodied, there's a lot of bodies around, and eventually you're going to take on a whole bunch of enemies and find yourself one of these altars. You'll be able to tell where it is straight away because it's got a sacrificial dagger just in front of it which you're going to need to use, and upon using it you're going to sacrifice the heart, allowing you to get 2 more passive skill points. Exactly the same again, do Act 3 of this in Cruel, you're going to get another 2 passive skill points, again just helping you out a little bit before you make it onto the endgame. Overall though, these are definitely worth having, and if I've tallied things up right, which I hope I have, if you grab absolutely everything from Act 1 to 3 throughout your normal and Cruel difficulties, you'll be able to get yourself 24 passive skill points, 20 of each resistance, so your fire, lightning and cold, 100 spirit, 20 max life as well as 8% increased max life, and then whatever your choosing is of the Kabbalah and Sun relics, as well as your choice of venom drafts. But yeah, hopefully that's helped a few of you guys and girls out. There's going to be an absolute abundance on the way from me, a lot of helpful tips and guides, as well as some build guides and things to look out for that can really help you throughout your journey, all the way from beginner right up to the stuff you should be looking out for endgame. As always, Wolfens Gaming, take care. I'll see you on the next day.